Welcome to Super Dave Raines and the Big Show, on location at the Marriott Denver Tech Center for Starfest 2017. And I am here with the Master of Ceremonies, Mr. Kevin Atkins. Sir, welcome to Super Dave Raines and the Big Show.
Good to be here.
All right.
But you realize that Master of Ceremonies for our conventions is a glorified name for the traffic director.
Okay.
If I do my job right, our guests are on the stage for the maximum amount of time. And that's what I'm here for, is to make sure that they get on and that they're having a good time on stage with the folks, and that's it. So.
Right, awesome. Yeah, I'm going to ask you some more in-depth questions about
no.
that, but yeah.
At least you got me in the morning before it gets, too crazy.
Yeah, exactly. But I always thought of Master of Ceremonies as more of a glamorous position, like you're the main man, you're the Wizard of Oz here.
Yeah, just don't look behind the curtain when we're up there. So. It's actually kind of terrifying,
Right.
I've helped at a couple of other conventions, and it's not the same. What you have to understand about our conventions here is it's a giant family. And I know that sometimes that may sound silly, but I've seen people who have, I met my wife at the convention years ago, and we've been together for 30 years now.
Wow.
But things I could do here, a quote professional MC would probably never be able to do. The only reason I can get up on that stage is because I relate to the folks who are in the audience. I'm just like them. I go to work in the morning like they do and come home at night and pay my bills and everything else. So, as long as everybody's having a good time, I'm happy. So, I've never really thought of it as a glorified thing. I just said my job is to get the folks out there so that the guests can meet the audience, which is, the audience is actually part of the convention. If they weren't there, we wouldn't have a convention.
Yeah, absolutely. So. No doubt about it. And I can definitely relate. We all have muggle jobs.
Yeah.
But I think that's awesome that you've been connected with one convention for so long. And obviously, we're honored to be here. This is our first time covering Starfest.
I'm glad that you could show up. Hope you have a good time.
Oh, it's already been fabulous. So, and I can definitely understand and relate to the family atmosphere, because you have that in one of your sister conventions down south. Galaxy Fest reminds me a lot of Starfest.
And I don't think there's a lot of us around still. I think, the big moneymaker people of, there's always been the creation cons and stuff.
Right.
And, the comic cons are, those are the big names nowadays. But it's entirely different. There's room for both types of conventions.
Right.
But it's a real labor of love when it's the family-run conventions.
Yeah.
You have Steve and Kathy Walker. They put their money on the line every year to try to get the guests and the venues and everything, and there's just so much that goes on behind the scenes
absolutely,
that we try to make sure nobody's aware of.
Right. Well, we're so happy to be here, and congratulations, Starfest, 40 years. It's amazing, and you guys deserve it. And I love the smaller cons because I get to interact with, like you said, we're the same. We're nerds and geeks. And nerds and geeks are my family. I've been one my whole life. So those are the
now
people
it's cool.
Now it's cool. When we were going, it wasn't so cool, but now it's really cool. So I'm glad to be really cool. Tell me how you got connected to Starfest. You mentioned a little bit of that.
So I moved to Colorado back in 1977. I was working for the Gates Planetarium here. I was hired by the Gates Planetarium away from a planetarium in upstate New York. And I was, my title there was Universe Fabrication Coordinator, which I was sort of a producer. I helped design the effects. These are in the days before digital effects, slides and all that kind of such. Well, I was talking to my boss, and on his desk was a flyer for an upcoming convention called StarCon Denver.
Right.
So I contacted the folks, and I said I would like to come and do a talk. I also have a love for science fiction films, and I had put together presentations on how special effects were done. So I went to Kathy and I said, I have this slideshow and I'd be happy to help you out. So I did. So I went to the convention there, and the first year or so I was basically a guest. If you look in the program book, you'll actually see a photograph of me holding a lightsaber.
Okay,
And when I first saw that, when I saw the first Star Wars trailer, that's the first thing that came to mind is, well, they needed something to do, to wield around. So what they did is they took a steel rod and they wrapped it in something called Scotch-Lite, which is the highly reflective material that's on your license plates.
Right.
And they used that, okay, to generate, and then the guys went back with what they call traditional cell animation and overlaid the glows and stuff like that. So I took that to the convention and was talking about things such as that. And it just kind of, you know, I was a guest, and then the next year they didn't really have anybody to help out on the stage, so that's how I got drafted.
Oh, that's a good thing.
Yeah,
you want to get drafted into things like this.
So I have to give the convention. I'm much more comfortable talking with people now than I was before I got up on that stage. But you you get up there and you're like, okay, what am I supposed to say next? So,
whatever comes to mind.
Yeah, so far it hasn't been anything really, you know, untoward. So
okay,
you know,
that's
keep
good.
fingers crossed. So.
That's good. That's good. Well. Thank you so much for coming on Super Dave Raines and the Big Show at Starfest 2017, the 40th Starfest. It's been an honor to speak with you. I'm very glad we got to meet. You got a great job. One of these days, hopefully, I'll get to do that too. So, folks, the Master of Ceremonies for Starfest 2017, Kevin Atkins, the Wizard of Oz of Starfest. Thank you, sir, for coming on the show.
Well, thanks for having me. Glad I could help you out.
Yeah.